Christmas is many things to many people. Carol singers and mince pies to some. To others it's swearing shoppers and a glut of aftershave that smells like cuppa soup. But if we all agree on something, it's that television in Britain goes completely mad at Christmas. The radio and TV times are so heavy, you need a wheelbarrow to get them home from the newsagent, as ITV and the BBC battle it out for your undivided attention over the next 2 weeks. But it's only the UK that takes its Yuletide TV so seriously. Even America doesn't treat Christmas quite so hysterically. There, the commercial TV networks are aware that with all the shops closed over Christmas, there's little prospect of attracting advertising revenue, so they just don't bother at all. What they do is run old repeats, and one station in New York has been running this for the last 23 years over the festive period, with huge ratings. So why do all these programmes clash? Well, look at the scheduling even this year. You've got a bullseye Christmas special right opposite the Top of the Pops Christmas shows. There's a great deal of difference there. Or Christmas Blind Date, which obviously is unmissable, against a major blockbuster, Back to the Future. Now these are the sort of things that can turn your sweet little old granny into a monster as she fights to see the liquidator while you insist on the gospel according to St. Matthew. So what exactly is going on here?
The beat is booming, the bass is slapping. I'm here to unwrap my Christmas wrapping. So hang up your stockings, hang up your socks. Have a look, see, hear what's on your Christmas box.
Good morning, everybody. We'll be taking you through the Christmas schedule.
The Christmas press launches are the first step in the bitter battle between the BBC and ITV to win Christmas.
Festive season on Thames. A new minder.
What size boots do you take? 8. Tread on that, will it?
Convincing the press you've got the best programmes is a serious business. It'll be the journalists who decide who's providing the best Christmas before it even happens. And in the week after, fill their papers with sensational headlines on who won and who lost.
It's important to the BBC to win Christmas. It's important to ITV to be seen to be doing a good job, because your performance at Christmas gets a lot of publicity, headlines in the papers, and you can make a big meal of it in the publicity sense.
People are amazed when they come to Britain, Americans, and they see this amazing importance that's attached to Christmas. This is a function of the fact that the BBC always regarded Christmas as a very important part of the calendar.
Throughout the 60s and 70s, the BBC won the huge Christmas audience. ITV didn't even try to compete.
By this time on Christmas night, of course, if you've eaten a little too much, or if you're feeling just plain exhausted, you may be starting to doze off. And so it is to you, first of all, that we say...
The BBC recipe was a traditional one. Lots of variety, singing and dancing, and light entertainment.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Now, on behalf of all here, we'd just like to wish you a Happy Christmas!
In 1963, the BBC won its biggest share of the Christmas audience, with almost 70% of viewers tuning in.
Oh, well, it only comes once a year.
If anyone else says that today, I'll crown them, honestly will.
Christmas traditions established early on by the BBC became as much a part of the nation's Christmas as the family turkey and chestnut stuffing.
Hello.
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 Well, with our 4th candle lit on the Advent crown, all our decorations and cards around the studio, we're really beginning to feel very Christmassy indeed.
But the real Christmas winner was variety in a cosy fireside setting, and its huge appeal peaked with the show that became a national institution.
Anything like a day. Looks like a day. Looks like a day.
For weeks beforehand, speculation about the secret ingredients of the show was rife. It was as if Eric and Ernie's guests were joining the family party.
It just took off, and slowly it became the centrepiece of Christmas, I think, for most people in terms of television. They wanted to know, who were going to be the guests, what they were going to do. And the people in the profession were very happy to come along and be guests on the show and play various parts. So it became I really do believe that, so there are some artists who kind of reach Everest, and I think Morecambe and Wise and their Christmas show certainly did.
The Morecambe and Wise Christmas show reached a record-breaking 21 million viewers in 1977. It was time for ITV to fight back, which they did by poaching Morecambe and Wise the following year. The ratings figures, produced weekly by the British Audience Research Board, became vital for the Christmas scheduler in the ensuing battle.
Right, if you could check Christmas blind date for me.
But ironically, the advertisers normally in search of the biggest audience-pulling ITV shows were not that interested in buying Christmas airtime. Despite the huge audiences, the shops were shut and the seasonal spending spree was over.
The bread special on BBC, which I think is going to do very well. So, no, I wouldn't be interested in that. Okay.
Commercially, Christmas is not an important period in terms of revenue. Therefore, what the amount of money we spend on it in a strict commercial world doesn't make sense. We do it because actually we want to provide a service to the viewers and we have a decent Christmas on ITV.
The battle in the late 70s centred on bought-in Hollywood movies, but by the early 80s, with the arrival of home video, films and TV lost popularity. The 1982 Christmas audience fell dramatically. Something new had to be found. The BBC came up with the feature-length sitcom Christmas special and put the soap centre stage. It took a gamble on a mix of homegrown, well-loved characters, repackaged in new dramatic settings.
They can actually beat the audience for a major Hollywood movie. You don't need to buy in your big stars from Hollywood and say, look, we've got Clint Eastwood, it's Christmas Day. You can actually say, we're going to give you more of the Boswells, we're going to send them to Rome, and people respond to that in the same way.
In 1986, not only were there EastEnder Christmas specials, but 2 cliffhanging episodes in one day. It set a new trend for winning the Christmas audience.
And what started it was the brilliance of EastEnders and that great Christmas when the Christmas Day was hammered with the 2 EastEnders programmes into which 30 million people tuned. And what has happened since then is that other soaps like Coronation Street and ITV have followed the vogue and that the BBC set. What we do is we try not to come out of the same trap twice. So there has been a special feature of EastEnders practically every Christmas now for 3 years.
Although everyone's always had specials, and like going back more than 10 years, say the Likely Lads would be 15 minutes longer on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. But the actual storylines would tend to be related to Christmas in the sense that it would be Bob and Thelma leave the turkey at the supermarket and therefore have to get one from someone else, or Terry and June, which is still going and probably with the same story, that something goes wrong with the turkey or in-laws descend. What's happened in recent years is that the coziness of Christmas has been knocked out. If a soap is trying to get a large audience, it's going to do it with one of its big crisis storylines, and invariably that involves a death or a suicide or a major marital breakup.
Here is he.
You mean your husband?
Well, it's a bit early for Santa to be coming down the chimney, isn't it?
What's happened over the past few years is that there's been a move towards a more realistic portrayal of what is happening in the viewers' homes, so that Christmas, which is a time of great conflict and tension, I think there's a high suicide rate, there's a lot of marital conflict and marriages start to break up, people get very unhappy, and of course people do argue a lot about what they're going to watch on television.